southwest Atlanta. I hit up Vent and we headed out to the scene.
On the way, we learned that a victim was transported to Grady and died from his injuries. This store is located in the shopping center on Cascade Avenue. This is the real beginning of southwest Atlanta. We have a lot of connections to this neighborhood. We're hoping that's gonna help us out going forward.
It's the wee hours of the morning, close to 3 o'clock by the time me and my partner roll up there. This is homecoming for a brother like me. I mean, I'm going back to my neighborhood, the first place I paid rent as a grown man. And now I'm here responding to someone's tragedy.
Sorry to wake you, fellas.
We don't sleep.
All right, let me give you the tour.
Let's go for it.
Our crime scene is a 24-hour supermarket.
Where was he hit?
3 to the torso, 1 hit an artery.
It's no surprise by the amount of blood that we saw that this victim died so quickly.
The victim was a 48-year-old Obayakar Yamichi.
Obayakar. Okay. All right, so was he a customer or an employee?
He's a clerk.
Graveyard shift.
This is one of the most dangerous shifts to work any convenience store in any major city.
Robbery?
Probably. But shooting the guy 3 times seems extreme.
We found this.
Big gun.
So our sergeant goes on to say that there's a weapon that was found on scene. It's a .40 caliber Beretta.
Were any shell cases recovered?
No.
So maybe the killer picked up their own brass.
Maybe. I wonder if that belongs to the victim.
Could be. Found underneath him when we got here.
In this neighborhood, most clerks, they kept a tool close by, especially at closing time.
All right, so our killer either recovered their own shell casings or they used a revolver. Why was he on this side of the glass?
There's a glass enclosure that protects clerks, so why is the door open? Why is he not protected?
So it looks like he was cleaning up.
Actually, there's another guy mopping when this all went down.
An eyewitness?
Yeah, he's out in the squad car waiting to be questioned. I'll go get him.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
The Sarge brings this witness back inside the store, and he identifies himself as Simon Gardner.
Okay, so you saw the shooting.
Uh-huh.
Where were you?
Over here mopping.
Okay, so you caught a look at the guy?
Not really.
He says it was someone he'd never really seen before. He didn't know personally.
And I heard him say that he wanted to buy a 5X t-shirt.
One of them.
Sure.
And this is 2008. 5XTs were all the rage.
We kept the t-shirts behind the counter so no one would steal them.
The $5 bill is still sitting in the trough between the front of the counter and where the clerk was behind the glass.
Looks like he paid for his shirt.
This is unusual because it doesn't look like anything's missing, including the money that the killer left there. He actually deposited money instead of taking it.
All right, what happened next?
Obi couldn't fit the t-shirt in the slot, so he came out to hand it to the guy.
It looks like our shooter had done his homework.
This killer, in my opinion, had been in that store and cased this out before.
Guy just started shooting, unprovoked. Boom, boom, boom. Then he took off. I saw Obi on the floor and all that blood. I ran to get help.
Describe the shooter for us.
25, maybe 30, dark complexion, kind of tall, like 6 feet, but skinny.
You saw the gun?
Yeah, it was a revolver
Now that matches up with the fact that we have no shell casings on scene.
and nickel-plated.
Did you get a look at his face?
Not really.
Simon says he didn't see this shooter's face, but how did he see this gun?
We got to take him at his word. Sometimes murder right in front of you causes citizens to, keep things close to the vest. We're going to pump the brakes on pressing the brother too hard at this point.
Here's my card. You hear anything, holler at me, okay?
What do we have here?
I don't know, man. They didn't take nothing except his brother's life.
There's nothing missing from our victim's pockets. The till is full of cash, and we're trying to figure out what this means.
Hit.
Maybe this isn't a robbery. Maybe this is personal.
Store owner's here.
Thanks.
While we're on scene, the actual owner of the store, a guy named Richard Musa, he shows up.
Hey, bro.
Thanks for coming down.
I feel horrible. Obi wasn't even supposed to work tonight.
So this wasn't his shift?
No. I called him in last minute. We got into another store.
He's feeling like the reason that this victim is dead now is because he had him come to work. We see cameras, and at this point, we're wondering, we may capture this entire homicide on tape.
So we're gonna need a copy of the security camera footage.
They don't work.
We have a big goose egg now when it comes to anything that we could have seen as far as what happened to this victim.
You guys have a gun on the property?
Yes, a 40 caliber Beretta. I gave it to Obi.
When he had Obiacore come in and relieve him at the store, he passed that 40 cal off to him for his own personal protection while protecting his store.
I told Obi to always have it. We never actually been robbed before. This is just awful.
What can you tell us about Obi?
He's Nigerian, like me. He was my friend. Amara is devastated.
Amara?
His wife.
Because Richard Musa was so close to Obiacore Anyamichi, Richard disclosed to us that he actually called the wife while we were working our crime scene, and he actually broke the news to her personally.
She doesn't have anyone to care for her now.
He said Obiacore was just in this country to take care of his wife, who was bedridden.
We're gonna get to work, all right? Now, in the meantime, if you hear about anything, you think of anything, you give us a holler. Thank you, man.
This is a tough one. No motives, no enemies.
Yeah, nothing but a brick wall. We got some work to do, baby. Look, I'm gonna tell CSI to dust the door for Prince, okay? The $5 bill, too.
We need to find out everything we can find out about Obiacore to see if anybody targeted this victim.
We decided on the very next day to actually go visit the wife of our victim, Mr. Anyamichi.
Ma'am, how you doing with the detectives with APD?
Yes.
So sorry for your loss.
Thank you. This has all been so overwhelming.
This poor woman was at home alone in total renal failure. That Mr. Anyamichi, who she affectionately referred to as Obi, was her single and solitary caregiver. He took her to dialysis 5 days a week. And how would she get there now?
Obi was my everything.
Tell us about your husband.
He was a brilliant man.
She goes on to say that our victim, Obi Anyamichi, had 2 master's degrees in mathematics and economics and was a well-respected professor back in Nigeria.
Do you know anyone who would want to harm Obi?
No. My husband was well liked by everybody.
So we're now scratching our heads. We know this isn't a robbery, and now it doesn't seem like it's a targeted attack. We got to figure this out right now.
But there was one time Obi was attacked in the store.
Really? Tell us everything.
We may have just found the missing key to our case. But finding the answers is a whole nother story.
Every turn was another dead end.
What kind of gun did the shooter have?
It's some type of revolver.
We lit that neighborhood up searching for clues. We'll have to fish out a few red herrings.
It wasn't me, but I know who did it.
This guy lied right to our faces.
Before an unexpected twist propels the case forward.
You mind if we get 5 minutes of your time?
This was a total blast from the past.
In the end,
Hey, what'd he look like?
Like a teenager.
Every rumor starts with the truth.
locking down the killer seems like mission impossible.
Where's your son?
I didn't bring him.
We were really worried we might have another homicide on our hands.
I'm done.
So this is where it went down?
We're investigating the murder of Obiacore Anyamichi, gunned down at a convenience store in southwest Atlanta.
So you saw the shooting?
Uh-huh.
An eyewitness walked us through the homicide.
Guy just started shooting.
And robbery doesn't seem to be the cause.
Now, do you know anyone who would want harm Obi?
No.
While speaking with Obi's wife...
But there was one time Obi was attacked in the store.
a potential motive comes to light.
Really?
We think these two crimes might be related.
Tell us everything.
Happened a couple months ago. He was attacked in the store. I don't know the details, but the police were called. Obi came home with a swollen face.
Did Obi say why he was hit?
I don't know. I think the guy just freaked out on him or something.
If the cops were called, then there's definitely a report.
Look, we're gonna do everything in our power to find out who did this, okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
It's possible the person that assaulted Obiacor is our shooter.
We go back to the office and we're digging through records to see if we can find a police report for the assault of our victim.
All right, I got it.
Lo and behold, we find a police report from May 24, 2008, 2 months before our victim is killed at the same store.
So Obi caught a shoplifter and the man assaulted him.
Yeesh. Looks like he got roughed up pretty bad.
Yeah, maybe he came back to finish the job.
Our victim was shot 3 times. This is like overkill. And we know when we're looking at this assault report from 2 months before, he's beaten pretty badly. So there's rage involved there.
Let's see what happened. There's an officer on that.
We make moves to get in touch with the investigating officer.
Officer Bailey.
Hey, it's Quinn, down in homicide.
And find out exactly what her investigation yielded.
This guy grabbed something, tried to roll off without paying for it.
Mr. Anyamichi, he jumped in the way and stopped the guy from leaving, and the guy just rained down on him with fists and just beat him down.
The guy took off, and that was it.
You guys ever ID a suspect?
We only had a description. Black male, slim, 25 to 26 years old.
That sounds like that could be our guy, right? Yeah. All right, thank you.
No problem.
Yep. What do you think, Benny? Think we're dealing with some kind of loose cannon that would kill a guy over shoplifting confrontation?
That's crazy, right?
We've seen crazier.
In this case, maybe he stood up to the wrong person and got killed for it.
Velasquez. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for trying. That's a no-go on the prints from the $5 bill.
We understand it's almost impossible to get fingerprints from money, but nothing. No door prints, no money prints. We got a big 0.
It was worth a shot.
So let's see where the leads take us.
We heard from the medical examiner's office that they recovered 3 .38 caliber bullets inside our victim, which confirmed our suspicion that the murder weapon was in fact a revolver.
Later that afternoon, we received a tip that somebody named Meat may be involved in our homicide. It's actually a common nickname on the streets. Meat could be anybody, so we just keep that in our back pocket for now. We were heading back to the office when the signal 63 comes over the radio. That means an officer needs assistance right now. Drop what you're doing, get over there and give him assistance. And in this case, it was an officer-involved shooting that just happened to be 1 block away from where Obi was murdered.
We headed right over there to offer our help in any way possible. When we roll up on this scene, we notice there is a person that is clearly unresponsive on a driveway of a home less than half a block from our original crime scene.
What's up, Pete? We had 2 officers on their way to the hospital. The suspect has been killed.
How'd it go down?
Units were responding to a suspicious activities call. They saw 2 guys out front here. As our boys exited the vehicle, everything went to hell.
Out of nowhere, one of the persons just starts firing at both officers. Hit one officer in the face, the other officer in the chest.
Yeah, both our guys got shot, but they returned fire. Killed this one.
Damn. What kind of gun did the shooter have?
It's some type of revolver.
We're like, bam! Isn't this starting to make sense?
Did you see the gun?
Yeah, it was a revolver and nickel-plated.
So we're thinking, could this person that was just killed in this driveway be our killer of our victim at the convenience store?
Okay, we got an ID on the deceased.
Yeah, it's Montellis Clark. He's 28 years old.
He matches our basic general description of the information provided by Simon. This may be our suspect.
You're sounding more and more like our shooter, man.
Yep. Pete, could you let me know when the report is done?
Sure thing. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, we need to link up with Simon again.
Yeah, you read my mind.
So we have to put Montellis Clark's photo in a 6-person lineup and find our eyewitness Simon from the convenience store and show it to him. We quickly connect with our eyewitness, Simon Gardner.
All right, thanks for your time, brother. Look, I got some photos I want to show you.
Sure.
See if you recognize Obi's killer.
We're just sitting there with bated breath, just watching his brother scan through these 6 photographs of people.
He's staring at this thing, and I'm like, damn.
And we're thinking, this is gonna happen. This is gonna happen today.
Sounds like somebody unhinged.
All right. What are the odds, man?
We may have identified the killer of store clerk Obayakor Anyamichi.
Yeah, both our guys got shot, but they returned fire. Killed this one.
A man who opened fire on police and was shot dead.
What kind of gun did the shooter have?
It's some type of revolver.
We're thinking, could this person that was just killed in this driveway be our killer of our victim at the convenience store?
I got some photos I want to show you.
We want to see if Simon can confirm whether or not Montellis Clark is indeed our killer of Mr. Anyamichi. We may be closing our case today on the merits of this lineup.
He's not in here.
This was a situation where it looked like we had this thing wrapped up.
You positive about that?
Yeah.
2 incredible tragedies happened within 75 yards of each other, and they're not even related.
So maybe Montellis isn't our guy.
Thanks for helping us out.
You know, the other night I was going to tell you another possible witness.
About 5 minutes before the suspect came in and killed our victim that night, he remembers a woman named Trina.
Trina? Okay.
Simon also injects that this girl, Trina, she drives a fire-engined red Dodge Charger.
All right, so the car's a good start.
He has breathed life back into this case.
One more thing. Word is this guy, Anthony Hill, he knows who the killer is.
Anthony Hill.
Where does he hang?
Somewhere in the neighborhood.
Now we have 2 leads to chase, Anthony Hill and Trina. So we thank Simon for his help.
Thanks for your time, brother.
We see what we can dig up on these potential witnesses.
It takes us no time to find Anthony Hill. Luckily, you know, this neighborhood has been the kind of place that the people just aren't hard to find.
Hey, man, we're with the APB. You got a minute?
Yeah. What's this about?
All right, so we hear you might know something about the shooting that happened at the store.
Yeah, I was out here when I heard those gunshots.
Anthony goes on to say he saw the shooter fire 2 more times into the store as he was running away.
When I hear something like that, where a shooter has actually shot someone inside of a store, he goes out, holds the door, and fires 2 more rounds while making his exit, that sounds personal.
And what'd he look like?
Black male. You look young as well, like a teenager.
This description doesn't match what Simon told us.
Describe the shooter for us.
25, maybe 30.
These aren't the same person. So right now, we got a big goose egg of an investigation.
Hey, thank you, man. All right, be safe out here.
So me and Vin are out there grinding up the pavement in West End Atlanta trying to find out who killed Mr. Anyamichi. And then bam, out of nowhere, my cell phone lights up and there's a blocked number coming through.
Yeah, you got Quinn.
Yo, this is me.
This might be our shooter right here.
We had tips coming in saying that Meat actually was the killer, and now Meat's calling us?
All right, talk to me.
I heard my name is out there on this murder at Richard's store.
Yeah, I heard that too.
It wasn't me, but I know who did it.
This right here could be the turning point in our case.
I'm all ears. Talk to me.
It was this young boy named Twan.
At how young?
Teenager.
This lines up exactly with what Anthony Hill told us earlier.
You got a last name for Twan?
No, but sometimes he stays with his fam over on Beecher.
Yeah, that's where the store is, on Beecher. All right, you got an address on Beecher for Twan?
I'll get it.
Hello?
This is good.
Yeah, Twan. Yo, things are moving along, baby.
Yeah, but this throws shade at our witness, Simon.
We're thinking back to Simon. His description is so far off from what Meat is saying. We didn't have a good feeling with him in the beginning anyway.
You think he's been lying this whole time?
Maybe. But I wonder why. Here we go. Yo, talk to me.
You got a pen?
Yeah, give me a second.
It's me, and he's got a 4-digit address on Beecher Street. He says it's where this boy Twan used to live.
All right, got it. All right, we'll be in touch.
Yeah.
This address makes sense.
It's literally less than 1,000 feet from our crime scene at the convenience store.
Let's move.
I mean, this is crazy. This is great information. We have lit this spark, and this sucker's burning.
We entered Twan's address into the database. We see the name Antoine Weems as someone associated with that residence. We're thinking Antoine, Twan, they gotta be the same person.
We did a little digging and found out Antoine Weems is 16 years old.
We want to talk to Antoine, but because he's a minor, we want to get consent from his parents first. As we were preparing to make that happen, we spotted Trina, who Simon told us may be a witness. So we decided to try to get an interview with Trina while we had a chance.
We see the car, this red Charger in the neighborhood. We roll up on it just to verify if this is our girl Trina from the store.
Hey, Trina?
Yeah?
You mind if we get 5 minutes of your time here, sister?
Sure.
Okay.
I turn on my mini audio recorder to capture this conversation with Trina.
All right, look, we're out here working this case. And that gentleman that was killed at Richard's store?
I heard about that.
What's the talk on the street?
Everybody keep talking about they don't know who did it.
What's the rumor you heard between me,
That was just like one of the neighborhood guys did.
You get a name?
No.
You sure? Look, I'm from around here, all right? I know how these streets be talking.
You live
here? Yeah, right around the corner. Late 80s.
As me and Trina are talking and realize we actually know each other.
Oh, God, I'm going backwards. That's crazy. She has been in my apartment.
That's my mom. That's my mom.
Oh, my God, it's a small world.
Once she knew the connection, that I was that cop for when she was a little girl, bam, she started giving it up.
Somebody stopped me and said, you heard that there was Twan that shot the man.
All right, so you said his name was Twan.
Yeah. That's just a rumor, though. That's just what I heard.
Thank you for your time, sister.
Appreciate you.
All right, thank you.
On the way back to the office, we speak with Antoine Weems' mother, Angela, who agrees to let us interview her son. Angela Weems is more than cooperative on the phone. She even said, I'll be in your office in an hour. When we arrive, Angela's already there.
Miss Williams.
That's right.
She's got a grimace on. I mean, she's got on a scowl. The biggest thing about this encounter is she's all alone. I'm looking all over the office. I don't see a 16-year-old in her tow.
Where's your son?
I didn't bring him.
Angela says her son Twan had absolutely nothing to do with the murder.
You won't be talking to him at all. I'll tell you everything you need to know.
We feel like something's up. If this young brother's innocent, then why can't she let him talk to her?
Talk to me.
It was this young boy named Twan.
The Obayakor Anyamichi homicide case is heating up. We've identified 16-year-old Antoine Weems as our prime suspect.
Where's your son?
I didn't bring him. You won't be talking to him at all.
Antoine's mother comes to the office, but refuses to cooperate.
I'll tell you everything you need to know.
We're getting roadblocked by Antoine's mom.
So you're making a statement?
No. I ain't making no statement.
Well then, ma'am, I guess our time here is done.
Y'all need to drop this right now. My son couldn't have done it.
Angela, with this scowl on, is now angry and snarling, talking about my son was with me, I'm his alibi.
And you're his alibi?
Yes, and I'm not the only one.
Have we been looking at the wrong suspect?
All right, where were you?
Out of town. We were at a party.
She said my son Antoine was 25 miles away south of the city. He never left, and I had eyes on him up until the hours of 3 o'clock in the morning.
So I need the names and numbers of everyone that was at that party.
Here you go.
Our antennas are sticking straight out. Something's not right here.
I'm done.
This is just too convenient. Typically, an alibi is one person, maybe two. All of a sudden, Angela's got a slew of people.
Let's call everyone on that list. See what they got to say.
All the names that Angela Weems gave us were relatives, cousins, and aunts. There was not one independent witness or someone outside her family she said was going to be part of this investigation.
That's a no-go.
Yeah, me neither.
We call every one of them. Nobody answers the phone. So we leave voicemail messages hoping somebody call us back.
Let's get back to work.
So 3 days later, one guy named Jimmy Parker actually calls us and says he'll actually come in for an interview.
All right, man. Thanks for coming in, Jimmy.
No problem. All right, so we understand that you were at a party with Angela and her son.
Mm-hmm.
And Antoine stayed the whole night.
Yes.
He knows absolutely nothing about the murder, but backs up this alibi. We don't feel this guy. We turn the heat up a little bit.
Look at me. Are you willing to go to jail over this?
This brother Jimmy Parker was dressed like Carlton Banks. I mean, he wasn't no hood thug.
Right. It's cool. Let's just start from the beginning. So, tell us about the other night, bruh.
I don't know anything about the murder. Just that Antoine disappeared.
Jimmy Parker goes on to say that Antoine was missing for a couple hours between midnight and 2 a.m. That fits perfectly in the timeline when we know our victim was shot and killed.
How do you know that?
Angela.
He says the way he found out Angela actually stormed into Antoine's room and asking him where did he go middle of the night.
She just went off on him. I could hear it from the other room.
So, in effect, Jimmy Parker is giving it up not only on Antoine, but giving it up on his cousin Angela.
All right, man. Thanks for your cooperation.
All right, so now we know Angela lied.
Exactly. Which means we're on to something. Yo, we should put a photo lineup in front of our witness, Simon.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to him.
We got a 6-person lineup with Antoine's photo on it and showed it to our eyewitness, Simon Gardner. And he doesn't pick Twan. We were shocked.
Then we did a little digging and find out that Simon actually has ties to Angela Weems.
And that he does some kind of work for her. And at this point, we thought Simon was intentionally misleading us, but we just couldn't prove it.
Then the investigation began to stall. I mean, months went by. Then out of nowhere, a detective calls us and says he's got a person in custody from a robbery that may have information on our case. This could be the breakthrough we've been waiting for.
The suspect, Julius Lowe, is brought to homicide.
All right, brother. What do you got for us, man?
It's about the shooting at the grocery store. Saw a man see go in there.
When Julius Lowe drops the name a friend of his known as T, I'm thinking T Twan, we're on the right page.
All right, where were you?
Across the street. And all I heard was pow, pow, pow.
He hears gunfire, and T is running out the store. He can see this kid he knows as T actually holding a gun, pointing it back into the store.
And he was robbing the joint, you know?
Julius Lowe goes on to say that even before the murder, weeks before, He heard T talking about planning to rob that convenience store.
What's T's real name? You don't know?
No. Look, let's do something, okay? I want to show you a lineup, and you tell me which one of these is your boy, T.
Take your time.
And he's not saying anything. And we're starting to worry now.
Have we been looking at the wrong suspect? It's been 4 months since we started working the murder of Obiakor Anyamichi.
All right, brother. What do you got for us, man?
It's about the shooting at the grocery store.
But we finally seem to be breaking through.
Saw a man T go in there.
A recently arrested robbery suspect claims the person he knows as T is responsible for the murder of our victim.
Tell me which one of these is your boy, T.
We got Julius Lowe, someone that actually knows this kid. This is the moment of truth on a case that's dead in the water.
Ooh, what's up? What's up?
None of them dudes look familiar, all right?
At this point, my heart just sunk.
Okay, so you didn't see T in this lineup?
No. No.
We see that he's fixated on the third photo, which just happens to be the photograph of Antoine Weems.
Hey, let me do something. Wanna take a little break? Yeah? Want to step outside, grab some air?
Can I smoke?
Yeah? We'll hook you up, brother.
Come on.
All right, we'll leave this stuff here, get some air, reset the energy, you know what I mean?
If you're a reluctant witness, we want to make you feel like you're in the comfortable confines of your home and see if he can have a change of heart.
All right, over here. We can post up over here.
So we take Julius outside for some fresh air and a smoke.
Can I get one?
As soon as we got outside and lit this brother's cigarette, he's in our ear like it's a secret.
Yo, it was 3.
T is number 3?
Yeah.
This is a bam moment. This brother Julius just said T is the guy that's our shooter. We now know T is Antoine Weems.
All right, hey, why didn't you tell us before, man?
I don't know.
All right, come on.
He doesn't want to be a snitch, but he wants us to get the right person that did it. This is common, but we're going to take his ass back inside and have him say it again on camera.
Julius put us where we needed to be, and the only reason we got him is because he got locked up for a robbery. We got to consider a jury may not like that.
And we just kept grinding, trying to find something really solid tying him to this murder. Several folks told us about a really close friend to Antoine, a youngin' named Sean Jackson Jr.
Word on the street was that Antoine called him after the murder and confessed.
We pulled phone records and saw a dirty call from Twan's mother's house directly to Sean's house. It was time we had a talk with this young man.
We meet with Sean's father to see if we can get a blessing to speak with his son.
Hey, look, man, your son might be mixed up in a real bad situation, man.
I don't want my son going down the wrong path.
He was looking out for his son's best interest.
Okay, so the suspect called your son after the murder.
Let's settle this. Julia, get down here.
He knows something's up, so he actually calls his son from inside the house.
Hey, Julia, get down here.
And tells him to come out and talk to us.
Sit down.
All right, young blood, check it out. Did Twan call you the night of the murder?
This is the linchpin of our investigation. Someone known to our suspect. We can't wait to see what he reveals.
You made the right choice.
So the suspect called your son after the murder.
The Obiakor Anyamichi case seems like it's about to pop.
Well, let's settle this. Julia, get down here.
A face-to-face with Antoine Weems' friend may provide the answers we need to close the case.
Sit down.
They grew up together, and now he's here having to make a decision that's going to affect the rest of Antoine's life.
Did Twan call you the night of the murder?
Yeah. Okay, like he told me straight up. I think I killed a man. You gotta hold down the hood for me.
We know what that means. You tell somebody to hold the hood down for me. That means keep me informed if anybody brings my name up.
He said he was trying to rob him, but he saw he had a gun and he panicked.
That's a third-party confession. We've connected this thing.
You made the right choice.
This little boy's gonna have to testify in open court. But this is the action that's giving our case gas. It's time to roll. On January 27, 2009, we obtain an arrest warrant charging Antoine Weems with felony murder and aggravated assault. 4 weeks later, he turns himself in. It took almost 8 months to tie this case together. While it's circumstantial, it's a thoughtful story that makes sense.
Antoine went to that convenience store with the intent on committing a robbery.
What do you need?
One gun.
Sure.
He used the purchase of buying a 5X t-shirt as a way to get our victim, Obayakor Anyamichi, to come out from behind his protective enclosure. But when Obayakor comes out of the enclosure with a visible .40 caliber handgun, we think the kid snapped and just started shooting.
He freaked out. The victim never got a shot off. And at the end of the day, after the smoke cleared, Antoine left the store without taking any money, nothing of value, and in fact, left the $5 bill there.
This was a senseless murder on what we know now is a botched robbery.
Much to our dismay, a judge let Antoine out on bond, but with one condition. The kid's gotta wear an ankle monitor.
On August 17, 2009, as we're preparing for trial, we received word Antoine Weems cut off his ankle monitor and fled the area. While he was on the run, Antoine tried to rob his sister's friend.
He ended up shooting this woman in the neck and beating her 1-year-old child. This level of brutality is unbelievable. This should never have happened, but the justice system does not always work like you think it should. The next day, Antoine Weems is arrested once again for shooting this woman and beating this baby, but this time, Antoine gets no bond.
In 2010, Antoine Weems finally goes to trial. He is convicted and sentenced to life plus 5 years.
2 months after the guilty verdict on the homicide, Antoine Weems pleads guilty to shooting the woman and beating the child. He gets an additional 75 years.
The victim was a 48-year-old Obayakor Anyamichi.
When I think about this case, for me, it's a sad story of someone chasing the American dream.
Obi was my everything.
My heart just still, to this day, feels for the wife of Obayakor Anyamichi left behind. She lost her entire family that day.
Y'all need to drop this right now.
She had a passion for teaching.
She definitely connected with kids.
She was a giver. She loved children.
And when she met the man of her dreams, her life seemed complete.
They had a beautiful baby girl.
They were happy. She had what she needed and wanted.
Until her happiness ended in a hail of gunfire.
Blood everywhere.
They are in a total state of shock.
It appeared they had a drive-by.
Was her death collateral damage?
They had a second victim.
He's been arrested a couple of times.
Was he the target?
Or was this young mother keeping a dangerous secret?
I still don't understand.
She was afraid for her life.
She was, talking crazy.
He was becoming unhinged.
I said, I'm gonna kill that.
May 3rd, 1998. It's a pleasant Sunday night in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, a coastal metropolis known as the Venice of America.
Fort Lauderdale has hundreds of miles of inland waterways that crisscross many different city streets.
There's probably home to more yachts than any other place in South Florida. You go downtown, you walk out of the courthouse, you see boats going down the canal.
It's a beautiful area, surrounded with palm trees.
It's nice and quiet.
But tonight, that languid serenity is about to be broken for one pair of Fort Lauderdale parents.
They're winding down for the night, and unfortunately, what they hear outside is something that changes their life forever.
All of a sudden, they hear loud noises.
What was that? She looked out of her window just in time to see a car speeding away. She ran and got her husband, who was asleep in the bed. Mindy, get out. Something's going on.
The worried couple rushes outside to see what's going on, but are stunned by what they find.
Oh my God! Oh my God! What happened?
There's a young woman sprawled on their sidewalk.
She's laying face down in a pool of her own blood.
It appears that she has been shot.
Oh my God!
Call 911!
They are in a total state of shock.
But it's the young woman's identity that shocks them the most.
911, do you need police from this? Please, send the police in here. Please. Hello? Send the police in here. What's the problem? I don't know, somebody shot my daughter.
Ever since she was a kid, 23-year-old Shavella Thomas inspired those around her.
She wanted to make people feel great.
She was a giver. She was a doer. She loved to have fun. She loved people.
She was always trying to find the humor in everything, always joking, and she definitely connected with kids. That type of person, if kids see her, they'll be drawn towards her.
So after graduation in 1990, Shavella turned her knack for connecting with kids into a career.
Shavella worked for Broward County School District.
With her having that kind of silly personality, it allowed her to really flourish, because kids like to be playful and things like that. So having that type of personality, she fit right into that.
She started as a teacher assistant, and then she went on to do child care.
When you're working with young children, it takes a huge amount of patience, love, and concern.
It was also through the school system that Shavella first set eyes on Vernon Thomas.
Vernon Thomas also worked for Broward County Public Schools. He was a security guard.
He was working security at one of the educational facilities that she visited.
Hey, I don't believe we met.
I think you're right about that. We haven't. I definitely would have remembered you.
He was a very attractive man, and he was very charming.
Are you a teacher?
No, I'm just security.
Well, I feel safer already.
He was over 6 feet 2 inches tall, over 250 pounds. He had a powerful build.
He had been an athlete in college. He had played football, and he played semi-pro for the Broward Outlaws.
And he definitely had the confidence to go along with his physique.
Shavella's a beautiful young lady, and they hit it off.
Soon, the teaching assistant and security guard were meeting up off campus.
They fell in love very quickly. It was a whirlwind relationship, and they looked like the perfect couple.
After a short courtship, they were soon ready to take the next step.
The next thing we know, they were getting married. It was kind of shocking, like, wow, she's getting married, like, so fast.
Vernon and Shavella got married at a church in Fort Lauderdale. It was a beautiful, lavish wedding where they were surrounded by family and friends.
We had family members that was in the wedding, participated and everything, so it was nice.
Just was a beautiful day for Shavella.
Within a year of the wedding, Shavella was pregnant.
You know what they say, first come loves, then comes marriage, then comes a baby in the baby carriage.
When she got pregnant with her child, she was happy.
Shavella definitely had hopes of starting her own family. She did have dreams of being a wife, being a mother.
And when Shavella gave birth to the couple's daughter, it appeared that all her dreams were coming true.
She absolutely loved being a mom.
She was working her way up in the education system. She had new love in her life and a new child, and she was excited for what the future would hold.
But now, Shavella's been gunned down near the doorstep of her parents' home.
They hear gunshots, they rush outside, and then they see their daughter.
Oh my God! Call 911!
When first responders arrive, there's nothing they can do for Shavella.
She had been shot in her head twice.
The paramedics pronounced Shavella deceased on the scene.
She's gone.
Your child being killed in cold blood right outside of your home. I can't imagine what her parents must have gone through.
However, as Shavella's parents anguish over the realization that their daughter is dead, police at the scene make a surprising discovery.
They had a second victim.
Police find the young man several feet from Shavella, around the corner of the house.
He had also been shot.
He was still alive and semi-conscious, but we didn't know if he was going to survive or not.
Teacher's aide, Shavella Thomas, had found her calling.
She was such a caring person. She had a natural ability to be able to care about the welfare of kids, care about seeing them prosper in whatever their dreams were.
She had a heart for giving back to kids, and so she loved working with kids.
And after marrying Vernon Thomas in 1996, she'd given birth to a child of her own.
It was a fairy tale. He was the ultimate person to start a family with.
But now, someone has gunned Shavella down outside her parents' Fort Lauderdale home.
We have rescue on the way. Who was it that shot her?
I don't know.
They're not exactly sure what happened. They're not exactly sure who was involved.
All the police know for sure is that Shavella isn't the only person who's been shot.
When they did an area canvass, they found a second victim.
He's bleeding, and he is in and out of consciousness.
The police identify the second victim as Arthur J.C. Knight.
He had already lost a lot of blood, so immediately he was rushed to Broward General Hospital to try and save his life.
But the fact that he was still alive gave the police hope that they possibly had a witness to this incident.
While paramedics work to save JC's life, homicide detectives arrive and begin their investigation.
When I arrive on a scene, I look at the entire scene as an unknown. I don't know if it's involving any type of drive-by shooting. Is it domestic related? Is it a drug ripoff? Is it a mistaken identity? I have to keep an open mind.
In the street, detectives find several shell casings.
It appeared from where the casings were located that it was a drive-by shooting.
But examining Shavella's body tells a more complicated story.
Based on my initial observation of her body, it appeared that the shooter was shooting from the sidewalk.
She had been shot twice in the back.
Detectives suspect that Shavella saw the shooter and turned to run.
Hey!
But she didn't get far.
After being shot in the back, she fell.
Then it appeared the shooter went up to the victim and shot her twice in the back of the head.
The killer stood over her and shot her twice, execution style.
The bullets that went through her head actually impacted the sidewalk in front of her parents' house.
Directly underneath Chevella's body, there are indentations in the concrete from where she was shot.
It wasn't just a drive-by shooting that they were dealing with. Somebody that actually came up to the victim and shot her.
Detectives believe the other victim, J.C. Knight, was hit in the original volley of shots.
Based on where the police found him, the detectives believe he ran around the corner of the house before collapsing from his injuries.
For detectives, the fact that J.C. didn't suffer the same fate suggests he wasn't the shooter's main target.
Whoever did this, I had no idea, but it appeared to be very personal towards Chevella Thomas.
And it doesn't appear to be a robbery.
Her purse, her keys, the money in her wallet, everything, all of her possessions were accounted for.
If there's personal property still attached to or near the victim, then most likely it's not going to be a robbery.
Beyond that, the crime scene has little else to tell detectives.
They found 5 9mm shell casings.
That was the only other physical evidence they were able to come up with.
But who was the killer? Detectives hope that J.C. survives and can provide them with an eyewitness identification. But in the meantime, they start knocking on doors around the neighborhood.
It is imperative that police find witnesses so they can begin to build their investigation.
They also wanted to talk to Chevella's parents, but wanted to give them some time to collect themselves before making a statement.
I feel bad for Chevella's parents. I feel bad for parents that have to go through this with the tragedy of the loss of their child.
It was a horrific sight for parents to see it.
They're very distraught, traumatized, as to be expected.
Their neighbors were also frightened by what had happened.
The shooting became very traumatic to them.
It was quite unusual for something of this nature to be happening in that particular area of Lauderhill.
The first woman detectives speak to says she was standing at her dining room window when she heard someone scream.
I didn't know what it was.
By the time she looked out the window, she says Chevella was already down.
I saw the girl, I think, laying on the ground.
Did you hear gunshots?
I just remember sparks.
Okay, so you recall seeing sparks?
I think I did. Somebody had shot her, is what I'm gonna say, but I did not see a gun.
According to the witness, there was someone standing over Chevella.
And then she says that he gets back into the vehicle and then he leaves the scene.
And do you remember the type of vehicle that was?
No.
She says it all happened too fast.
All she could tell was that it was a 4-door car.
Each witness that they spoke to after that had the same general story.
Thank you for your time now.
The only thing we knew is that the shooter was a black man that got out of and back into a sedan that left the scene.
None of the witnesses have any idea why something like this would happen in their quiet community.
Chevella Thomas had no run-ins with the law. She was a teacher at a local school and had no insidious background that rose suspicion to us as investigators.
However, when the detectives return to the station and run a background check on their other victim, J.C. Knight, there are plenty of red flags.
He's been arrested multiple times.
He's a convicted felon and went to prison for carrying a gun.
With that, police started to think maybe there's something different here.
Was he the actual target that night?
Hey!
Detectives investigating the shooting that killed Chevella Thomas suspect the gunman's intended target may have been the man who was with her that evening, 24-year-old J.C. Knight.
J.C. was also wounded in the shooting and was currently in surgery at a nearby hospital.
He had an extensive criminal background. He had even spent some time in prison.
He had convictions for possessing firearms, for carrying concealed firearms.
Gun possession could be connected to gang activity or drug dealing, so they really don't know what they have on their hands.
Could have been something to do with firearms or a gun deal or a drug deal. We had no idea.
Whenever, as an investigator, you have someone who has been shot and they're part of the crime scene and they have the extensive criminal history that J.C. Knight had, you have to seriously consider that.
They started to wonder, maybe this happened because JC was here, someone was targeting him.
It also leaves detectives wondering why JC was with Shavella that night.
When you look at the background and the lifestyle of Shavella, she was an upstanding citizen. She had an upbringing that was predicated on Christian values. Everything in her background was the straight and narrow. But when you look at the background of JC, you looked at an individual that lived a high-risk lifestyle.
Detectives decided at this point they couldn't wait any longer to get a statement from Shavella's parents.
When they sit down with Shavella's parents, her mother tells detectives the shots weren't all she heard that night.
Shavella's mother says she did hear arguing.
I thought I heard Shavella outside.
What did that conversation sound like?
Very heated.
Police asked her parents about Shavella's relationship with JC. Her father didn't know, and her mother didn't know JC either. So they had to figure out what the nature of that relationship was.
However, she doesn't think it was JC that her daughter had been arguing with.
According to Shavella's mother, Mel's voice yelled out, "That's my wife."
It was obviously no mystery who would yell something like that.
So your daughter was married?
Yes. Husband name is Vernon Thomas.
However, according to her parents, Shavella and Vernon's marriage was on the rocks.
The detectives discovered that Shavella and Vernon were separated.
She left him and she moved back home with her parents.
Do you know why they split up?
She didn't really tell me everything, but I know they were having trouble.
She advised police to talk to Shavella's brother, Carl.
Carl was her older brother. He looked out for her as much as he could.
They talked often and were open about their lives with each other.
When detectives sit down with Carl, it's clear he's no fan of Vernon.
Well, I first met him a couple months before they got married, but I have no idea what she saw in him.
According to Carl, he really didn't like Vernon Thomas.
He described Vernon as very domineering.
From Carl's perspective, Vernon was overbearing. He was controlling. He would continually try to get Shavella to do things the way he wanted to, and he would become upset if Shavella wasn't around.
I told her that it wasn't right, but she didn't want to listen.
So what did you do?
Well, after a while, I just kept my mouth shut.
Carl in his interview said that he tried to get along with Vernon.
However, Carl also says that Shavella had eventually come to agree that Vernon wasn't everything she'd hoped for when she married him.
From what Shavella was telling him, their relationship was going south pretty quickly after the baby was born.
Not long after, she left Vernon and moved back to her parents' house.
She couldn't take any more.
But according to her brother, Shavella and Vernon's separation was only the beginning of his sister's troubles.
He had been following her.
He would be calling her all times of the day and night, checking up on her.
When you begin to stalk, there's a heightened level of jealousy.
If in fact that Vernon possibly saw his wife with another man, he may not have been able to handle it.
After speaking to Shavella Thomas's family, detectives have learned that in the months leading up to her murder, Shavella's marriage to Vernon Thomas had fallen apart.
According to Chevella's brother, Vernon had become obsessive and controlling.
Because of Vernon's overbearing relationship with his wife, she called it quits and moved back home.
After the separation, his erratic behaviors began escalating. Vernon had been following Chevella almost everywhere she went. He followed her to her friend's house. He followed her to the supermarket.
So whatever she was doing, Vernon wanted to know.
Chevella did not feel safe around Vernon. She felt that he was liable to do anything.
She was afraid for her life.
It was a fear Carl says he knew firsthand.
After the separation, Vernon began coming by Carl's house, sometimes in the middle of the night, banging on the door, tapping on the windows, crying and begging Carl to tell Chevella to go back home.
Then one day, he showed up with a gun.
Vernon came to Carl's house, telling him that he had purchased a new 9mm pistol.
Vernon said, well, the neighborhood's getting bad.
There had been some burglaries in the area.
Carl says he was unnerved by Vernon's behavior.
He named the gun and called it his baby, so he was becoming unhinged.
This made Carl very uncomfortable.
Detectives suspect that's exactly what Vernon wanted.
With Vernon showing Chevella's brother his gun, that was a clear message to the brother. Maybe her brother will see this and go straight to Chevella and say, hey, I think you may need to give him another chance, coercing her to come back by any means necessary.
According to her brother, it didn't work.
He said that Chevella was in the process of taking out a restraining order against Vernon.
They felt that Vernon was dangerous, and they were concerned about what he was capable of doing.
Between what Chevella's mother overheard and what her brother told them about Vernon owning a 9mm pistol, detectives figured they'd been right to worry.
A 9mm pistol was the same gun that was used to take Chevella's life.
Just that statement alone, the spouse now goes to the top of the list.
It's a tale as old as time, a jealous husband being the #1 suspect.
However, while Vernon may be the #1 suspect, the detectives will still need to track him down.
They couldn't find him at work. They couldn't find him where he lived.
He's pretty much nowhere.
Detectives suspect he may be hiding out or even on the run.
It's 1998. Technology is not the way that it is today. They're not triangulating cell phones. They're not using your movement to track you.
There is no social media.
Pretty much, if you want to be off the grid, you could be off the grid.
So they started talking to people that knew him to get information about where he could be, what they might know about his relationship with Chevella.
They don't find much until they track down a teammate on Vernon's football team.
Vernon Thomas was part of a semi-pro football team here locally.
How long had you known him?
We've known him for about 5 years.
His teammates said he was a good guy who got along well with everyone.
From the outside looking in, he was just this easygoing, mellow guy that everybody knew and loved.
Happy-go-lucky guy.
But something about Vernon had changed on the night of May 2nd.
The night before the murder, he says there was a game that they had played and he was acting really strange.
She was acting standoffish to herself, you know. He was just acting different. He wasn't the same old, cheerful, playful person.
He was withdrawn from the others.
What was his behavior?
He seemed real depressed. Just wasn't the same person. During the game, he was like in the middle of the field, just playing with the dirt on his knees. I think, if I could remember, he was crying.
This is the playoffs, and Vernon is sticking out like a sore thumb. He's not in it to win it.
Some of the guys were trying to cheer him up, talk to him.
But according to his teammate, Vernon's behavior had gone from strange to frightening.
She was talking about doing something crazy.
He was making statements that something bad's gonna happen.
I'm a killer, man. I swear I'm a killer, man.
He was talking about killing his wife.
Fort Lauderdale detectives investigating Shavella Thomas's murder have just learned from a teammate of her estranged husband, Vernon, that the semi-pro football player had been threatening her life.
One of the teammates told the detectives that Vernon said that he was going to kill Shavella.
He said, I'm gonna kill that. Kill that.
Okay, now you heard him say that.
Yeah.
In hindsight, we say, well, why didn't they say something? Why didn't they do something? I think it's very realistic that that person just thought, hey, he's going through a lot. I don't think they thought that their teammate, the guy that they played with all the time, was gonna go out there and hurt someone.
I'm telling you, just keep your head up, man. You know, come on, man, don't worry about that. I'm just trying to get him back into the game so we can play, because it was a playoff game.
However, when the detectives ask if he knows where they might find Vernon now, he says no.
He says he has no idea where Vernon may be now, but he may know somebody who does.
I heard what happened from Joe Wallace. Joe Wallace was his closest friend, I think, on the team that I know of.
He said a person you may want to talk to is Joseph Wallace, somebody that's known Vernon for years.
So that's what the detectives did. They tracked down Joseph Wallace.
Joseph Wallace was a substitute teacher for Broward County Public Schools.
This is sworn tape recorder statement to Mr. Joseph Wallace at his place of employment. This is Vernon Thomas that we're going to be speaking about.
He told the detectives that they're not as close as they once were.
We used to do a whole lot of stuff together. But once he got married, it was like we sort of drifted apart. And he never really discussed, his marriage with me or anything like that.
He acts like he didn't know of any problems that Shavella and Vernon were having.
He also denies knowing anything about the murder.
Did he ever talk to you about how he felt and maybe how he wanted to hurt his wife?
Nah.
Did he ever talk to you about how you wanted to kill his wife?
Nah.
Joseph's answers make the detectives suspicious.
Based on what the other teammates said, Vernon was openly talking about killing Shavella.
Does Joseph know more than he's letting on?
In an incident like this, it happened so fast that you would actually believe that somebody may have been a driver and that all the shooter had to do was jump in the car and take off.
Did you see or hear from Vernon Thomas on that Sunday before the murder or after the murder?
Neither.
Has Vernon made contact with you at all? Did he tell you anything about the murder?
No. He didn't say anything at all.
Is he being untruthful to hide what he has done or to protect Vernon in some way?
I had a deep feeling in my bones that he wasn't being completely cooperative with me.
But since that's based on little more than a hunch, they have no choice but to end the interview.
At that point, the detectives were no closer to finding Vernon.
Until a few days later, they catch a lucky break.
Homicide. We received a tip that led us to the location of the vehicle used as a getaway vehicle in the murder of Shavella Thomas. We located the vehicle, towed it, and subsequently learned that it was in fact registered to a close friend of Vernon Thomas.
His name is Russell Benaby.
That is a bombshell in this case.
Suspecting he may be an accomplice, the detectives bring Russell in for questioning.
They were straightforward with the facts and said, okay, your car was involved, to see if he puts himself in his car.
Russell doesn't put himself in the car on the night of the murder, but he does put Vernon in it.
He did admit that Vernon asked him to borrow his car.
Benamy knew Vernon from past school history. They were frat brothers together.
In these types of investigations, it's not shocking to see connection between friends and family, because friends and family typically want to help.
So he gave Vernon the keys.
However, Russell says it wasn't Vernon who returned the car a few hours later.
According to Russell, he didn't know who it was, but the person that returned the car said something to the effect that we lost somebody tonight.
He said what he meant by that?
No, but I figured it was Vernon, though. He seemed really down since Chavella left.
He thinks maybe Vernon may have committed suicide. And that's what he tells detectives.
But is he telling the truth?
The police do a photo lineup.
Did any of these guys return the vehicle?
It was him. He was the guy.
Russell identified the very person that they had already interviewed, Joseph Wallace.
That was great evidence for my investigation to close the gap.
It's as if the case is coming together right before the detectives' eyes.
At this point, police knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that Joseph knew more than he was actually saying.
But just how much was he trying to hide?
Was Joseph the actual shooter, or was he accomplice in the case?
Before detectives can bring Joseph in for a second time, police receive a call from the doctors at Broward General Medical Center.
They get some good news.
JC was now conscious, alert, and wanted to talk.
And he's aware enough to ID the shooter.
Shooting victim JC Knight has just woken up in the hospital and is ready to talk to the detectives. But will he be able to identify the man who shot him and Chavella Thomas?
His role in this investigation is extremely important.
He would be our only eyewitness to the actual shooter.
And when the detectives speak to JC in the hospital, he has no doubt who put him there.
Mr. Knight IDs Vernon as the shooter that night.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, absolutely. Vernon Thomas.
He was angry as to what Vernon did to Chavella and himself.
Vernon had been jealous of his relationship with Chavella, even though Chavella and Vernon had been separated.
Although, according to JC, he and Chavella were just friends.
There's no intimate relationship between the two.
But try telling that to Vernon.
Even though they were just friends, he believed there was something more going on.
According to JC, things had come to a head on the night of May 3rd.
JC told me that he was at a party with Chavella near where Chavella's parents live. Sometime during the night, Vernon showed up.
Yo, what you doing with my wife, man?
JC says he and Vernon exchanged a few words.
According to JC, Vernon leaves.
He said that Chavella had really been shaken up by Vernon's behavior.
Can you walk me home tonight?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
JC, doing the gentlemanly thing, escorted her home to her parents' house.
That should never have happened.
But they never made it to Chavella's front door.
I know you told him.
Hey, man, that's my wife, man. That's my wife.
Oh, my God.
JC says he tried to get Chavella out of the way, and he tried to run, but he was too late. He was shot, and Chavella was shot.
JC managed to escape around the corner of the house before he collapsed from loss of blood. But Chavella wasn't so lucky.
Vernon shot her in the back of her head, just like it was nothing.
He believed that, well, if I can't have her, then no one's gonna have her.
Thank you.
While waiting for a judge to swear out a warrant for Vernon's arrest, the detectives bring his friend Joseph Wallace back in for another round of questioning.
When police go back to confront him, Wallace stated that, yes, he was the one that brought the car back.
However, that's not all Joseph told the detectives.
He actually threw Russell under the bus and told the police that this guy is not as innocent as he claimed he was. His role was not only loaning his car, but he was very detailed and specific in telling Joseph how to dispose of this gun.
Beneby gave him a plastic bag and says, put it in this and clean off the fingerprints and throw it in water so nobody will be able to trace it back.
Law enforcement, they do everything to find the firearm, but they never find it.
Even without the gun, Joseph's story is more than enough for detectives to charge both him and Russell as accessories to the murder.
Everyone knows what's going on, and they're working in concert to cover up this violent and heinous crime.
But it's Vernon the detectives really want. And they won't have to look very far to find him.
I received a phone call from the Broward County Central Intake Jail that an individual had presented himself to intake, identifying himself as Vernon Thomas.
Vernon may have turned himself in, but that didn't mean he was ready to cooperate with the investigation.
Vernon didn't say anything to the police when he was arrested.
And it's only when Vernon goes on trial for murder in March of 2000 that his version of events finally comes out.
Vernon Thomas's defense was self-defense, to the effect of Vernon arrives at Chevella's parents' house to talk to her, at which point in time, Vernon Thomas alleges that JC pulled out a gun, pointed it at Vernon.
Naturally, Vernon had pulled out his gun and fired at JC.
Unintentionally striking his wife 4 times by accident.
To back up their claim, the defense points towards JC's criminal history.
JC had a background dealing with illegal gun possession, and the defense actually used that against him.
When the case goes to the jury, the defense's arguments raise at least some reasonable doubt.
The verdict in this case was guilty, murder in the 3rd degree, which is a lesser included offense of murder in the 1st degree.
So clearly the jury did not buy the fact that JC wasn't armed.
Vernon's sentence is a mere 15 years.
We just wanted justice to be served, and it was not. It was not.
The law was wrong. How could he just take someone's life and they just give him minimum?
Vernon's accomplices, Joseph Wallace and Russell Beneby, who pled guilty to tampering with evidence, don't serve any prison time.
They both received probation.
He was probably 18. He said, Mom, I'm gonna be a rapper.
He changed his name to Jug Money.
Every show we had, it was packed out. Everybody come to see him.
We got reported that there were 2 gunshot victims that had arrived at the hospital.
I don't know anything. It's absolute chaos.
He has a lot of fans, so folks are flooding the parking lot.
The day of the incident, there was another shooting.
He wanted to go get some revenge.
I'll be ready to hop on the car. Go home.
He looks very similar. The dreadlocks, the stature, all that matched.
Could this have been a case of mistaken identity?
Somebody's got to be for somebody.
I don't know nothing about nothing.
The town of Anderson, South Carolina, sits in the northwest corner of the state.
It's very different than it was 10 years ago. And we had a much larger violent crime problem 10 years ago than we do now.
10 years ago, if we had one shooting, we were all on our toes because we knew another one was coming, whether it be a retaliation or what have you. If we had one, you're gonna have another.
Just before 10 p.m. on June 7, 2014, 911 operators get a call about a shooting in an area known as the Horseshoe.
The Horseshoe is a place down in the lower end of Anderson, the southern end. It comes in off of a side street, and they call it a horseshoe because it goes around and circles back to the initial road it came from. So deputies were already on the way to the horseshoe, and then the hospital called us. We got reported that there were 2 gunshot victims that had arrived at the hospital.
I'm at the ER. 2 cars just pulled up with black males who were shot multiple times.
Have you asked them like where it happened at or anything?
I don't know anything. It's absolute chaos.
Is there 2 of them, you said?
There's 2 that are shot. There's about 16 people out here all just screaming and running around.
Anderson County Emergency Services.
We are combating some crowd out here. Could you send me some city officers here to back us up, please?
Officers are dispatched to both locations. As they arrive at the hospital, one of the victims is still in the car he arrived in. A nurse attempts to help him.
The car was shaking. The lady was in there trying to give him CPR, you know. My daddy had to actually help her get him out the car and put him on a stretcher.
From the crowd, the officers learned the man is a 20-year-old local celebrity.
Brandon Willingham was an aspiring rapper, pretty well known to that, at least the local rap community. He was known as Judd Money.
He has a lot of fans. He has lots of friends, lots of supporters. Everyone wants to know what's going on. They've heard about the shooting, so folks are flooding the parking lot.
The other victim, his friend, is already inside being treated for his injuries.
Rayshawn Cowan, he's the other guy who got shot. We call him Cujo.
Rayshawn Cowan has been hit 4 times in his right shoulder, his hip, his thigh, and his buttocks. His friend Brandon Willingham has been hit once. Brandon has been hit in his abdomen.
As doctors work on the victims, local media gets a hold of the story.
Before we got in there and sat down, the news people had reported that a guy had passed away from the shooting that happened on Southside.
They had already put it on the news and Facebook that one person was dead and one person was alive.
I saw Cujo's mom and them like over on the other waiting side. Me and her were both looking at each other because we knew somebody was dead. So we're looking at each other, I guess, really like hoping, which is bad to say, but hoping that I'm not going to be the one.
Born on July 14th, 1993, Brandon was the first child of April Summerall and Kelly Willingham.
The day Brandon was born is like one of the best days of my life because I had a son. And for me to sit there and witness that, because I ain't never seen nothing like that before in my life. And when I got holding my hand and looked at him, a whole lot changed. You know, I got a son. It's my son. He's named after me, Brandon Kelly Lamont Willingham. So I got me a junior named right after me.
Becoming a mom to Brandon, that day I learned what true love was when I looked into his eyes. It gave me a whole new meaning of life because of Brandon. I knew I had somebody to live for and somebody was going to depend on me and somebody to give me a life that was worth living.
Brandon was raised in Anderson with his sister, Brianna.
Me and my brother, Brandon, we're like twins. We're only 10 months apart, so anything he wanted to do, I wanted to do it. We were really close.
I wasn't in his life long because I went to prison. He was like 18 months when I went to jail.
My daddy got arrested when I was 4 months old. You know, he still sent Christmas gifts.
I used to talk to him and my dog. I used to talk to all of them when I was locked up.
By the time Brandon was in middle school, he had another sister, Bree Shanae. April had to spend long hours away working to support her 3 kids.
I was like a hard worker. I was a single mom for so many years until I met my husband. So when I finally met somebody who was willing to love them and me, that changed my whole life.
April and Jeremy married in 2007. Around that same time, Brandon started having trouble at school.
Brandon was such a class clown. He drew a picture of SpongeBob smoking a joint that called me at work. And so when I had to go to school, I was so pissed off at Brandon. I was like, I'm going to kill this child. And I mean, I was hot because my job was like an hour away. Then when I got there and they handed me the picture, I had to hold the laugh in because he could draw really well.
He's getting expelled, so he's going to alternative school. My mom was trying to discipline him. Now, mind you, me and my sister, we honor student, we good.
I think he liked alternative school, though. I really do. He was in there for 3 years. I mean, he was like the little leader person.
In 2011, April and Jeremy welcomed twin boys.
He wasn't happy about them at first. When he found out I was having boys, I think it broke his heart because he was always my only son. But once they got here, he loved his brothers.
What his family didn't know is that Brandon had been quietly nursing a dream.
The whole music thing took me, I'll just be honest, completely by storm. One day he said, and at this point, he was probably 18, he said, Mom, I'm going to be a rapper. I said, really? I said, that's a good dream, but in the meantime, you need to get a job. And Brandon was like, no, Mom, I'm for real.
In 2012, Brandon got the chance to share his dream with his father.
When I was locked up, I did not know he could rap. I did 18 years, 9 months. When I got out of prison, he came and picked me up.
Brandon threw himself into his music. He took his childhood nickname and turned it into a name he hoped would be known around the world.
Say you go to the store and you out there selling some apples, you jugging, you getting money. It's just a slang. He used to always jugging, trying to make a little $0.25 or something when he was little, and they used to call him Jug Shoes.
He just changed his name to Jug Money. Everybody was calling him Jugging. It sounded good.
He was just full force on that music, and it all happened with him and the music. In a year's time, he was doing shows, and I mean, booking shows week after week after week. One Battle of Atlanta, he made the deal with his promoter and his manager. He released that CD.
I was in college when he first started rapping, so I would just come home, hear the music, going back to college and make everybody else hear it.
To say that Jug Money was an up-and-coming artist is an understatement. I mean, he was really, really on his way. He was a big deal, and he was becoming an even bigger deal.
He wanted a lot for himself and his family. He said, Pop, what kind of car you want? I was messing with him. I want a Ferrari or something like that. He said, we're going to get it one day. And that's what he believed in, so I believed in him, and Anderson believed in him, too.
On June 7th, 2014, a shooting lands Brandon and his friend Rayshawn in the emergency room at Anderson Medical Center.
News traveled very fast, so between the local newspaper, TV stations, once the shooting occurred, folks knew about it. Facebook was blowing up because of who Brandon was.
Local media reports that one of the men has died.
You've got family members from both boys' families, Brandon, Rayshawn. They're both there at the hospital, tensely waiting.
I see the corner man come out, telling us to go in his room. I went straight out the door. I ain't going in no room. I already knew.
The tragic news was that Brandon Willingham had indeed passed away.
His blood pressure plummeted because he got hit in that main aorta.
Everybody had done part and got out the cars and kind of like swarmed the outside of the hospital like a big old memorial waiting. And so when I came out, I was screaming, who did this? And what they, like, who did this? Who did this?
Detective Barton with the Anderson County Sheriff's Office arrives at the hospital where rapper Brandon Willingham, also known as Jug Money, has just succumbed to a gunshot wound to the abdomen.
There was a bunch of people at the hospital. There was a vehicle that was roped off that the victim arrived to the hospital in. The police were standing by, had that secure.
Brandon's friend was also shot, but survived.
Rayshawn Cowan has been hit 4 times in his right shoulder, his hip, his thigh, and his buttocks.
Him and Rayshawn, they've been friends since they were kids. And Jug and Cujo, I call him Cujo, but they grew up together. You know what I'm saying? He been there. He a good friend of Jug. Him and Jug were good friends.
I was able to interview him at the hospital. He was in a lot of pain. He was wanting to get his pain meds, but I also needed to speak with him while he had a somewhat of a clear mind. Tell me what happened.
Oh, we were just standing out there talking about my homeboy. We were just talking about rapping.
They were there to shoot a rap video the next day. They were wanting to, get a lay of the land and see where they were going to put different props at and all this stuff. So they were in a deep conversation with each other. And he said a car pulls around the horseshoe, comes up to where they're at, and immediately gunshots start sounding off.
Who started shooting? I can say some car came from the bottom of the road.
What did the car look like?
A great car. I can't see no kind of car.
Small car, big car?
It's kind of small.
Gray small car?
Yes,
Did you recognize anybody in it?
Yes, sir.
Jug Mike, does he got a beef with anybody?
No, sir. You local rap.
Okay, any idea who shot you?
No, sir, not whatsoever.
Somebody's got a beef with somebody.
Yeah, I can say that. Yes, sir, I know they do.
I think he was being honest with me. He didn't know who the shooters were.
Investigators learned that a third man drove Brandon and Rayshawn to the hospital.
I spoke with the police officers that were on scene there about the vehicle, got all that settled about, having the vehicle towed and all that. Got a name of the driver who drove them to the hospital, who was no longer on scene. He had apparently drove them to the hospital and left on foot. But I did get a phone number for him, so I was able to call him. He didn't have a whole lot of information either, didn't know who these folks were that shot at him.
Following the interview, Detective Barton heads to the crime scene.
So as I'm pulling up, obviously there's a lot of cops out there. The scene's secured, it's blocked off, crime scene tape everywhere. So I get out and I got another detective on scene. He gives me a rundown of what he's got, and there's shell casings in the roadway, there's blood.
We recovered 4 9mm shell casings. So we knew we were looking for a 9mm gun. Most of the people who were there, from my understanding, what I was told when I arrived, either left or maybe they were in the house and not willing to come out.
There was a gentleman that was willing to talk with us on scene that gave us information.
Orlandis Hamilton was the only one who stuck around to talk to us. He was there when it happened, and that him and Brandon Willingham seemed to have a close relationship. He was upset about it, and I thought he was genuine in wanting to help.
He said he saw a silver car. He said that there were 3 gentlemen, 3 black males in the vehicle, and he said that one of them in the front seat passenger was hanging a gun out the window and shooting as they were coming down Oliver Street.
He did not recognize or did not know who they were. He said they all had their hats pulled over their faces.
Aside from a vague description of the car, investigators leave the scene with no leads. They consider whether Brandon and Rayshawn were in the wrong place at the wrong time.
There's a lot of drugs run down there, so, when the shooting first came out, that was the first thing that popped in my mind was a typical drive-by. We've had many a drive-by down there.
Or did Brandon's simmering fame have something to do with his death?
Did a business deal go bad? Did he treat somebody wrong?
In the rap world, beefs arise, they do diss tracks on each other, and then people get mad about that. We really had to look and see if he had any other problems with another rapper, local or otherwise. Atlanta's not that far from here, so we've had times where people come up from Atlanta and do drive-by shootings here. So that was something we had to explore. All these things are possibilities.
As investigators in Anderson, South Carolina, dig into a double shooting that left 1 man dead, they take a closer look at the victim, Brandon Jug Money Willingham.
We have to keep an open mind about all the possibilities of why this specific person was killed. We usually do a deep dive into that person. We call it victimology. He was known as Jug Money. My understanding is he was getting pretty close to making it big. And so that was, of course, something that we had to look into.
Brandon was a well-known rapper in the area. It could be someone he had a beef with.
Brandon's family insists he had no enemies.
He did not have no beef with people, not that I know of. I never seen him out fight nowhere, fight somebody called him, come on, fight, Nah, I never seen him do that. He stayed in the studio too much.
In fact, they say Brandon was a role model to those who were on the wrong side of the law.
He opened up doors and let them know, like, you can make it, especially when it comes to doing something other than illegal stuff, fighting, gangbanging, drugs, anything like that.
Investigators find nothing in Brandon's life that points to a suspect. So they take a different approach.
The day of the incident that Brandon Willingham was killed, earlier in that day, there was another shooting that happened nearby at a gas station.
It was a rough gas station. I mean, I've probably made 30 arrests there myself.
We started digging into that one to see if it may be related to this one, because typically these shootings all intertwine somehow. During that investigation, we determined that there was a subject who checked into the hospital from a gunshot wound that morning. The name that checked in was Juarez Patterson.
But when detectives checked security video from the gas station, they recognized the victim as someone else.
The person who checked in was not Juarez Patterson. We were able to pull video and see that, and we determined that the person that checked in was actually Juarez's brother, Anthony Patterson, who goes by the street name of D. So that starts throwing up red flags. Why is, Juarez, name being used, but it's not Juarez.
A little digging gives them an answer.
We determined Anthony had a warrant on him, and he was concerned they were going to call the cops to the hospital. So that's why he used his brother's name, his brother being Juarez Patterson.
No arrests had been made, but word on the street was that the shooting was the result of beef between Anthony and another man.
He goes by the street name Hitman. He's well known to us. They had gotten into an altercation. And Anthony was shot by Hitman. That case was never reported because Anthony doesn't want to report anything to the cops. And obviously, Hitman's not going to report it. We have not approached Anthony or anybody because we didn't have anything other than just words on the streets. And obviously, we want some kind of evidence. I only got one shot to interview him, so I want to make sure I got my ducks in a row when I do.
But investigators don't see an obvious link between the gas station shooting and Brandon's death. In the meantime, the tip line has been ringing off the hook.
So with this being a local rapper and the following he had, there's obviously a lot of people knew about this, and so as any crime, you're getting a lot of tips. So we had tips come in that we were immediately able to say, no, that's not the case, and it was easy to disprove it. You had other tips come in with very limited information that you couldn't even act on. Each tip that came in, we looked at and was able to determine that was not our person.
Then, 2 days after the shooting, a tip comes in from Brandon's father.
He was telling us that he had met with a subject by the name of David Bennett, and that David Bennett had information on the case and claimed that he was present when it happened.
I did an interview with him. It was brief. He was still obviously very upset about his son's death, but he wanted to pass along this information.
Kelly tells Detective Hill about his conversation with David.
They met at a little rundown restaurant where David proceeded to tell him all the details.
He told me everything that happened. Say the boy, his brother had got shot or something. So he wanted to go get some revenge.
The shooter was identified as Juarez Patterson. He thought he was seeking payback for someone that shot his brother earlier the same day.
David is in the back seat of the car and that Rores was the shooter and there was another subject driving the car.
Dude reached out the window and said he ain't even look, just reached out the window and started shooting. He ain't even look at nobody, just started shooting out the window. Shot my son one time, shot Cujo 4 times.
My next big thing was I got to find David.
We found his last known address in our system, and we went to that house. It turns out that was his grandparents' house. Nobody knew where David Bennett was. Wouldn't give us any information. I felt like he was being a little, I felt like Mr. Bennett's grandfather was withholding some information. I thought he knew more than he was telling us.
David Bennett works at McDonald's, so I go to McDonald's. David hadn't shown up for work all week, which is not uncommon. You know, when you're involved in a shooting, you're concerned about retaliation, so you try to lay low.
The next day, Detective Barton gets a phone call.
I was driving down the road when he called me, and I couldn't believe it. Because we never get calls like this. So I pulled over on the side of the road, and he and I talked for a little while, and he told me that he was in New York. He wouldn't come back. He said he's, concerned with retaliation. He's not coming back to Anderson. But he did agree to meet with me if I could fly to New York.
South Carolina detectives get their first big break in the killing of rapper Jug Money when witness David Bennett agrees to talk to them. 2 investigators fly to New York, where they interview 24-year-old David Bennett in a hotel room.
It's really unorthodox to do anything like that, but he didn't want to meet me at the police station. He's fearing he's going to jail. I'm not there to lock him up. I'm there to try to get information.
All right, thank you. All right, we're recording right there on video, and I'm recording right here on the audio recording. All right, well, man, first off, I appreciate you coming up, talking with me. You here on your own free will, right? I told you wasn't under arrest or nothing like that. When we get down here, you leaving, and we're going a different way, right? Obviously we're working on the murder that happened down in Anderson County, correct? Yeah. All right, and if you don't want to talk to me, you ain't got to talk to me, shit. It's up to you, all right? I'm just gonna get this over. Okay.
David tells the detective that he was at a party with his friend Terrence West the night Brandon was shot.
David and Terrence are just friends. Terrence is actually Rores' uncle.
Rores and his brother D was over there. They was drinking, playing cards, whatever.
Roy Rez and his brother were discussing the shooting that happened earlier that day when Anthony took a bullet in the leg.
They was fighting at the store, and Hitman pulled his gun out and shot him.
So when they're at the party, David wants to go buy drugs. So he and Terrence are going to go buy drugs.
It was going on 11 o'clock. And she was like, man, let's go get some more weed real quick.
As they get to the car, Rores is already at the car and jumps in.
They piled into Terrence's car, a silver Mitsubishi Mirage. David got in the back seat.
When they pull onto the horseshoe, they come around to the other end. And as they're approaching the end, there's 4 or 5 guys on the street corner.
I'll get ready to hop out the car and ask somebody for the weed.
Royes Patterson just opened up fire, and then Royes said, drive, drive, drive.
David says he doesn't know what's happening. He jumps back in the car, and Rores is telling Terrence to go.
He told me, see, we ain't see nothing, we don't know nothing. Did he say why he shot at him? He didn't say why or... What did you think it was? I thought it was over his brother getting shot, but I don't even know why.
When they got back to the party, Roy Rez approached his brother.
He told D, I got the man that's Johnson. He jumping around, I got him, dog.
But based on what investigators know, it was Hitman who shot Anthony, not Brandon.
He looks very similar to Brandon. The dreadlocks, the stature, all that matched. Especially you're driving through at night. It's not a well-lit area.
Could this have been a case of mistaken identity? Is it the case that Roy Rez Patterson was seeking payback for the person he thought shot his brother?
David Bennett says he and Terrence immediately leave. They go back to Terrence's apartment and hang out all night long, watching the news for what's going on, and that's when they start realizing someone was killed.
Police put together a photo array.
So we're on the phone back with detectives in Anderson, trying to get lineups emailed to me. Once we get those, I show them to him. He picks out Roy Rez Patterson as who he only really knew by Roy Rez. And D, he picks out Anthony Patterson, and he only knew him by D, as Roy Rez's brother. And then he also picked out a photo lineup of Terrence West, who the driver was. The first thing I want to do is find Terrence West. So I want to find Roy Rez too, but Roy Rez being the shooter, I want to save him for last because I want everything I can get before I get to Roy Rez.
When they get back to South Carolina, detectives find that rumors of Roy Rez's involvement have arrived ahead of them. Tension is at a boiling point.
People who knew Brandon Willingham, these people cared about him. They really wanted payback for what happened to Brandon.
The retaliation culture around here is serious. I mean, the people really stand on business when it comes to the people that they love.
Someone shot up the home where Roy Rez and his brother had been on the night of the shooting.
There had been a barbecue going on out there. Somebody easily could have been killed. This is a dangerous, dangerous situation. Not long after that, Roy Rez's vehicle at his girlfriend's house was set on fire.
So we saw this uptick in violence and people trying to flush out the killer.
But Roy Rez is staying out of sight.
So I had probable cause to sign warrants. I've already been to Roy Rez's house at East Market Street. Nobody's coming to the door for me over there. Terrence West, on the other hand, needs a job, so he went on to work. We located Terrence at the manufacturing facility. We told him he was under arrest. I transport Terrence myself back to the office. We have an interview room set up where I wanted to take him in there and speak with him. I read him his Miranda rights, and then I just asked him what happened. He told me the story. The story he gave was almost to the detail of what David Bennett's story was.
Police charged Terrence West with accessory after the fact of murder and attempted murder.
His actions after the shooting is what got him charged. He had multiple opportunities to step forward and tell us what happened.
The same day that Terrence is arrested, also the day of Brandon's funeral, Roy Rez Patterson turns himself in.
Roy Rez apparently can't take the heat. He was seeking payback for who he thought shot his brother, but the streets and the fans of Brandon were also seeking their own payback.
So he contacted our warrants guy, said, I know I got warrants on me, I'll turn myself in. So he was there that afternoon.
"7 days after the death of Brandon Willingham, investigators finally interview his alleged killer, Roy Rez Patterson.
I brought him to the office, the same as any other suspect. I try to build a rapport with him, go back and forth. I Mirandize him, and we start talking about this case. And from the beginning of that interview, I knew that he was not fixing to confess to this crime.
I know what happened. I've already had several people tell me, witnesses, people that were there, people that were in the car with you. Yeah. So
I don't know nothing about nothing.
Lying to me will do you no good.
I ain't lying about nothing.
He leaned back and smiled at me and said, "You got the wrong guy." When you have an attitude like that, it's going to be hard to get a confession.
Roy Rez says he never left the party that night.
Well, what about when you and David and Key were riding that night?
I didn't get a car key.
Well, why are both of them saying you did?
I didn't get a car key.
Okay.
All right.
Do you own any guns?
No, sir.
So that's the story you're sticking with?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Patterson had several days to get rid of the gun, so of course he wouldn't tell us where the gun is. And, you know, looking for a gun, especially here in the South, that's a needle in the haystack.
He claimed that we had the wrong person, and throughout the entire interview just sat and smiled at me.
You can sit there smiling all you want.
I got this crazy.
But when we go to court and the judge reads out murder, I want you to smile again, okay?
I ain't smiling
I
no
don't
murder.
want you smiling.
I ain't smiling no murder, because I didn't murder nobody.
Well, you got a murder charge.
I didn't murder nobody.
So you can get right with it, or you can sit there with a smile on your face saying you didn't do it.
It's my words against your word. I didn't do no shit.
You can stick with that story, but every dude out there knows you did it.
Yeah, that's how the streets talk. The streets don't talk like that, but I'm a working man.
He kept saying that he was a working man, that I got the wrong guy.
I didn't shot and kill nobody. I work for it. I got a family.
I understand you work.
Yeah, I work and I don't bother nobody.
But that don't mean you wasn't out Saturday night in that car.
But it was funny, he hadn't been to work all week, and he's not sick. So, you know, there were some pieces of his story that he told me that we could prove that he was lying.
And I got 2 witnesses that were in the car with you. So
I got my witness.
Who?
My family, where I was at.
He gave me names of folks that were at his party who could vouch for him to say he didn't leave all night long. So now we have to start finding those people, because if there is someone who can vouch that he was there all night long, then I've got the wrong guy, and that's the last thing I want, is the wrong guy. As much as I want justice for the family, I definitely don't want to arrest the wrong guy.
Your uncle says you did.
I didn't do it.
Okay. Like
That's my word against his word.
I got 2 people's word that were there, so you was the one shooting.
We charged Roy Patterson with murder and attempted murder for the attempted murder of Rayshawn Cowan and the murder of Brandon Willingham.
Following the arrest, investigators follow up on Roy Rez's alibi by talking to the party's host.
So when he gives me these names, I start going around interviewing. Several of the names he gave me, one of them, the guy wasn't even in town. Said he was in the military in North Carolina, so he wasn't even there. Another guy says, yeah, I was there, but I didn't come till after their house had been shot up. So I was not at the barbecue. Don't know if he left or not. Another name was his sister. I asked her, were you there with them all night? And she admitted, well, there was a time they could have left that I don't know about it. That right there is enough that she cannot be a good witness for Rores if she can't physically say, I saw him all night long. Nobody could vouch for him all night long at being at that house. Anything he gave me, we were able to tear it apart.
Both David Bennett and Terrence West agreed to testify against Roy Rez at trial.
How many uncles are gonna try to convict their own nephew? So I thought that was really good. Their stories are pretty doggone similar. So I thought it was a decent case in that aspect.
But will it be enough?
We didn't have any physical evidence tying Roy S. Patterson to this case, to this murder. We had 2 witness statements, and that was it.
On April 25th, 2016, nearly 2 years after the shootings of Brandon Willingham and Rayshawn Cowan, Roy Rez Patterson goes on trial for murder and attempted murder. Brandon's family watches in court.
All I can see was an ugly monster sitting there. I cannot believe this ugly human took my beautiful child, who has so much going for him.
Everybody was so confused. We don't even know him, the guy who killed him, Roy Rez. We don't even know you to even see why you would even have a problem with a 20-year-old rapper.
According to the state, the motive is revenge. But the real tragedy is that Roy Rez killed the wrong man.
Unfortunately, Brandon was in the wrong place at the wrong time that night, there for a legitimate purpose, scouting for a music video. And it just happened to be when this group of guys rolled through. Roy S. Patterson saw Brandon Willingham, thought it was Hitman. It was dark, not a well-lit area. They looked very similar, and that's when he opened fire. I think his emotions took over. He saw the guy who shot his brother in his mind, and he was going to get him back.
Carlandis Hamilton takes the stand and describes the heartbreaking minutes after the shooting took place as he tried to help Brandon.
Carlandis was the one holding him when blood was coming out of his mouth, and he said he was slapping Brandon in the face, telling him, stay with, don't leave.
He explained, like, the sounds my brother were making, like, basically saying that my brother died right then and there.
Carlandis gives a description of the car from which the shots were fired.
Carlandis Hamilton had described the silver boxy kind of SUV. It was a Mitsubishi SUV.
He reported seeing a silver box-type vehicle drive around the horseshoe just before the shots rang out and then speed away. We determined that Terrence West was driving a silver Mitsubishi Mirage, which is a box-type vehicle, and it belonged to his girlfriend.
His testimony backs up accounts from the prosecution's 2 star witnesses.
We watched Terrence West get on the stand. David Bennett came back to South Carolina, took the stand, gave his version of the events.
They told almost the same exact story, and they both admitted to being in the car when this happened. Terrence is Royez's uncle, so when your family's testifying against you, it kind of adds a little bit of credibility to that because people expect families to cover for each other.
Roy Rez does not take the stand.
The defense was we had the wrong guy, that his client was nowhere involved.
In Roy Rez's defense, his attorney argued that in the car that the drive-by shooting took place, there were 16 fingerprints found, and none of them matched Roy Rez. And also, police never recovered a murder weapon. None was ever found.
After 3 days of trial, both sides rest.
And in the end, the jury found him guilty.
He has to do 35 years, day by day, no parole, no probation. Yeah, it's straight time.
They should have gave him life without parole. You took my son's life. You should not have another chance to come out either.
The people who killed my brother, I don't forgive them for what they did. I probably never will, but in my heart, I don't just hate these people. God got me just like God gonna have y'all and deal with y'all in his own way.
Brandon's fans still mourn the loss, and for his family, the pain cuts just as deep today as it did when Brandon died.
I miss him, and excuse me if I'm about to cry, but yeah, they did something to me. It really did. It crushed me. That's my only boy. And for him to do that to my son, and when my son didn't do nothing to nobody, to harm nobody, all they cared about is making music. And that crushed me. I just wish he could have lived a little longer to see where his potential would have took him.
He was more than a son. Brandon was my friend. He was like my best friend. I'm so glad God gave me 20 years with him. He could have gave me none, so at least I got 20.